welcome back to another episode of Credit Union Cowboy. Today I have an extremely special guest with me. Andy Jannings created Life Over Debt. There were a few versions before this, but Life Over Debt is where we're at right now. I heard Andy speak a year ago talking about this program at the Tennessee Credit Union League annual convention. We knew right then we needed to sit down with Andy, talk to Andy on how we can get this up and running. Today, Enbright Credit Union has this program up and running. And again, like I said, my very special guest today, he's become a near and dear friend of mine. I love the guy, Andy Jannings. Thank you, Andy, for being here today.
Good seeing you, buddy. How are you?
Oh, I'm good.
It's a good day.
It is a great day. We got great weather today in Nashville.
Yes, sir.
We were supposed to do this a week ago. We had snow.
Yep.
Today, we're at 75 degrees and sunny. So, what do you want? But anyway, Andy, tell me a little bit how this got started.
So this actually, I've been working in this space kind of, I guess, I'm not going to say against my will, but I kind of fell into it. So back in August of 2019, my wife was diagnosed with cancer. Early stage 2 breast cancer, and the bottom just dropped out of our world, and which is an experience that too many folks have in this country. We didn't know. I mean, from a financial standpoint, emotional standpoint, physical standpoint, lots of questions, not a lot of answers. And she's now in remission now, but there's still those follow-on effects from that distress. They have a very long shadow, and hair grows back faster than money. And so we really know this subject, unfortunately, all too well. So about 6 months after she was diagnosed, though, I was given the opportunity by the National Credit Union Foundation, which is the charitable arm of America's credit unions, 4,000 credit unions across the country. They reached out to me and they said, hey, we know that there's a link between financial well-being and physical well-being. We want to do a documentary on how does the financial crisis of cancer affect our members, and what can credit unions, what should our industry be doing about it? And so they commissioned me to create this documentary called Side Effects. It's a 7-part, 18-story documentary that talks about the financial crisis of cancer from the perspective of our members. So I got to go all across the country, traveled over 12,000 miles during a pandemic to interview members and medical experts and employees to talk about their experiences with this and get a sense of what our industry can and should be doing. And that for me has kind of set my feet on a path to become essentially a financial advocate for cancer patients. So I introduce myself as, I'm Andy Janning. I am a speaker, I'm a storyteller, and I'm a financial advocate for cancer patients. And so over the past 5.5 years, I've been testing out different ideas about how we as an industry can meaningfully provide assistance to members struggling financially with cancer. And so that's what has created what's now called Life Over Debt. This program, which is really an alliance of credit unions who are united to basically do 3 things. The first is what's called differential installment debt relief, to provide basically a pause for any installment debt that the member has at their participating credit union. Pause the payments, pause the interest for at least 12 months. Because we're attacking the financial distress of cancer from a completely different angle. When we talk about cost of care in this country, yes, we do talk about how high the treatment costs are. We talk about insurance coverage, and that's all well and good. But what we don't talk about is the other side of the payment spectrum, is that too many times members are worrying about how they're going to pay their debts, how they're going to pay their mortgage, their car payment, their credit cards, their personal loans. And that debt is held by financial institutions. They're held by us. And when they go late with us, when they go late with their creditor, we have, unfortunately, the power to be able to take away their homes and their cars and their ability to pay for treatment. My whole thesis has been, what if we didn't do that? What if we instead said, hey, when you're fighting for your life, you need your money more than we do? What if we said, hey, the debts you have with us, they're still going to be there, but just take a break. We're going to give you a break on this. So that's element one. Element two is connecting them with a financial counselor so they're not going through this alone. They can help them map out a clear, sustainable path to financial well-being, not just during cancer, but then for the years and the decades after it. So they have a legacy of hope, not a legacy of debt and despair. And the third part is then providing short-term economic assistance, short-term loans that can help with emergency expenses or the thousands of other little expenses that you never thought that you'd have to pay for when you're trying to fight for your life. And so Life Over Debt is trying to unify credit unions around this cause, around this initiative that's going to affect half of our members at some point in their lives. Half of our members are going to be diagnosed with cancer at some point in their lives. Many of them will be financially distressed. It will increase their likelihood of going bankrupt 300%. And if they do go bankrupt because of a cancer diagnosis, their risk of dying early goes up by 79%. This is a real issue. And so we need, as credit unions, because we are people helping people, we need to come alongside them and say, hey, we see you. We're here for you. You're not suffering through this alone. We're going to be compassionate. We're going to help you through this. And we're going to be the bright light at the end of the tunnel for you.
That's awesome, Andy. And you hit upon a couple of things here. Anybody watching this, anybody anywhere, any of our members, anything else, they've all been touched by cancer one way or another. Mm-hmm. I lost a childhood friend to leukemia and during the pandemic. But the one thing that really struck me too, or one of many things, let me rephrase that struck me was there's an index, and you and I have talked about this, mm-hmm. a health index. Mm-hmm. Talk to me a little bit more about that.
So there's a measurement that scientists use to measure the level of what's called financial toxicity. Medical researchers use an instrument called the cost survey, which measures financial toxicity on a scale from 0 to 44. 0 meaning extreme distress, 44 meaning none. And what we find is that the lower the score is, the higher that member's overall stress is. And so it's going to affect, their trajectory of their care. It's going to affect, their quality of life. It's going to affect their ability to, keep a job and make their payments. We use this measurement to kind of see the effect of these interventions over time. And I have to give a shout out to my good friends down in New Orleans. New Orleans Firemen's Federal Credit Union. They were the first credit union in the country to say, hey, we're going to pilot test this. And so their members who have gone through this, one of them in particular, they've gone through this. They're going through this program right now. They've gone through a 12-month payment pause. Before the pause happened, a member who I'm going to call Tina, her level of financial distress was a 6 on that 0 to 44 scale. So it was extreme. Okay. After the payment pause, it went up to 21. That's a 250% improvement, literally overnight, because she was told, hey, you know what? Give it a year. Take a breath. We're going to connect with a financial counselor. We're going to be here for you. That literally gave her the space to say, I can make it through this. And so we're using that cost measurement to try and quantify the effect that these interventions have. And more to the point, there's 2 teams of medical researchers now that are trying to measure this, that want to partner with credit unions like yours, that want to say, hey, how do these interventions affect financial and emotional and physical well-being? It's the first studies that they can think of that have been done in this subject. It's the first time they've approached this from a financial institution perspective. And so when I've talked to them about this, they've been like, we've always been talking about like the cost of care and insurance coverage. We never thought to talk about the people that hold the debt. And so they're chomping at the bit to study this and to use that cost measurement to try and quantify the effect that credit unions can have. So we want to talk about the credit union difference. The numbers are going to be there. We will be able to show what we do in real time that will resonate not just with the financial services community, but with the medical community as well. I say that's a pretty good day of work.
I was going to say, I'm going to take a step further and go, this is groundbreaking. We are going into territory that has never been touched before with this. And the best.
Well, and it's again an area that it's not because, financial institutions are just greedy people sitting back and going, oh, how much, how can we, get more money out of people? it's one of those things, and you mentioned it earlier, everybody has a cancer story. Everybody knows someone that has had cancer. Everybody, may have had cancer. The thing that we don't talk about with cancer is how much it costs. People don't talk about money when they're sick. And so how can we kind of create a safer space to say, it's okay not to be okay with this. It's okay to say, I don't know how I'm going to make my car payment. I don't know how I'm going to make my house payment. There's no shame in that. And so if we can have programs like this one that open it up to our members and said, hey, we don't want to just hear just how bad things are. We want to be able to say, we're here to help you. Here's some things that we can do tangibly right now that can help you. And I've had members that I've spoken to about, when you are in financial distress because of cancer, did you think about talking to your bank or your credit union? To a person, every single one of them, every single cancer patient I've interviewed in the last 4 years has said, I never thought I could talk to them about it. I never thought my financial institution could even help. I didn't think there was anything that they could do. This program is proof that there is something that can be done. This program is proof that credit unions see this, that see the issue, that want to fix it, and have meaningful ways to do so. And your credit union was the second credit union in the world to be able to say, we're in this. We see over the horizon. We want to be leaders in this because we know too many of our members are hurting and suffering in silence. And so that is to be applauded. That is to be commended. And that is something to be replicated, hopefully, across the country.
When I heard your story up on that stage, it hit home. Again, I had a childhood friend who we lost to leukemia. I had another friend who had colon cancer. He beat it. He was going through it when you were up on stage. And so to hear what you were talking about, it was something that resonated not only personally, but it goes back to that people helping people. This is what credit unions are about. This is what we do.
Right.
We help our members.
Mm-hmm.
And for so long, this has been an issue with cancer. And what do we do? How do we do it? You came along and gave us an answer on, hey, this is what we can do. So, a lot of people have come to me and said, hey, great job. Thank you. I said, no, it's not me. I just took the ball and ran. It's Andy who did it. Andy's the one who came up with all this. Andy's the one who did the legwork to make all of this happen. But we do need to, and as you know, and you and I have talked, we're pushing it out to so many people. We're going to yell from the rooftops.
Yeah.
The entire state of Tennessee knows about it now through different things. We're working with different organizations, including the Tennessee Credit Union, to see how many more credit unions we can get on board.
Yeah.
I've got friends nationwide reach out, hey, how do we get on board here? And I bring them into you. So, this is what we've needed for so long. And this is a credit union difference. This is us helping our members. We're not just here, like you said, financial institutions. We're looking for ways to make money. We're looking for ways to make money. Yes, we've got to make money because that's what we do. That's how we survive. But we also have compassion. And I think a lot of us in some ways may have forgotten that. You're bringing that back to us, Andy. Wow. Thank you, my friend. Because like I said, I've seen the look on people's faces after you've talked to them. And you're bringing that back to the industry. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So Andy, if there's one thing, two things you want to say to get out there to credit union CEOs like myself, what would it be?
So the first thing is that credit unions are really good fast followers, which I like that about our industry in a sense, because we want to be conservative. We want to be careful. This is our members' money that we're talking about. This is our members' livelihoods that we're talking about here. So one thing I would say to credit union CEOs that are thinking, is this going to work? I would point them to folks like you, folks to the other credit unions in the Life Over Debt Alliance, to say they've already vetted this with their lawyers, with their internal legal, with their regulators. They've already gone through all of their internal due diligence. And they're willing to do what credit unions do, is kind of say, hey, Let's do credit union R&D, rip off and develop. Take our procedures and adapt it to your own credit union. And then let's create community around this. That's going to be the other thing that I'm building with this, is that creating a mechanism, a central location, the participating credit unions can get into and say, hey, how are you doing this? How are you handling this? They can kind of collaborate in real time, all across the country. The other thing I would tell credit union CEOs is that this is an issue that most of your members don't know how to talk about. This is an issue that probably many of your employees don't know how to talk about, because we want to appear, every one of us want to appear like we're 10 foot high and bulletproof. Oh, I've got cancer, but I'm staying strong. Hashtag your name here strong. I'm good. I'm great. We've got, we'll do a GoFundMe. But inside at 3:00 in the morning, they're wondering how they're going to keep the lights on. They're wondering how they're going to feed their family, but no one wants to talk about that. The first CEO in their market that says, we've got these tools that can help you, you win. So will be the second one, and the third one, and the fourth one, and the 1,000th one. There is no one winner here except the members. There's no one winner here except the children of mom and dad who are going through cancer to say, hey, my mom and dad didn't have to nuke my college fund. I have a future, and I see my mom and dad getting better because their credit union saw them and put their well-being above theirs. Our industry, it's so easy. It's so easy because we're it's like, do we choose love or do we choose money? And I would like to say that, we work best as an industry when we love people and use money, and not the other way around. And I realize that there are any number of pressures, competitive pressures, liquidity pressures, regulatory pressures, taxation pressures. There are any number of things that suck the oxygen out of the room. But if you had a member sitting in your office and they heard about this program, would you still tell them no in the same way you would tell me no to turn this down? Would you say to them that, I'm sorry, we really can't help you because of these 17 different things? Would you say that to a member face to face? If you had your entire membership in front of you in your annual meeting, would you say no to them the same way you say no to me? If there's a difference between those two answers, then you know that what's holding you back isn't regulatory. It's fear. And that's okay. I mean, that we kind of have to be a little bit scared, because that's what keeps us in business. We need to know where all the monsters are under all the beds. But at some point, we have to realize that there are bigger monsters out there. They're affecting a lot more people than just the folks that are on our payroll. We need to be able to say, we see you, we love you. This is why we were created. This is the difference that we can make for you. Let us come alongside of you and serve you. And so I would also, like I said, I'm going to say that I would point them to you. So you are an example of what it looks like when you let your heart and your head work together. Follow your example, because there are members out there that are desperate for it, and they don't have the language for it. We can speak for them. We can be their voice. That's what I would say.
I do want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, because what you're doing is purely amazing work.
Thank you.
We needed this. As I said before, our industry needed this. Far too many times we've had to get creative on what we're doing, and how somebody comes to us and says, hey, I've got cancer. Here are the keys to my car.
Right.
Well, how are you going to get to treatments?
Right.
How are you going to do different things if you're giving me back, your financial institution back, your car?
Mm-hmm.
So time out for a sec. Right. How do we work around this? And you've given us the tools to be able to do that at this point. Like I said before too, we just took the ball and ran with it. So, because I saw this, it's, like I said, it's affected everybody's lives. I don't care who you are. Somewhere along the line, your life has been affected by this. So, also for the audience out there, Andy mentioned earlier about his 7-part series. We're going to connect that with this video so you can watch the 7-part series also. I've seen it. It's amazing. Some of the people that Andy talks to, there's just no words on how this has helped them. I like to see the point where the index, as the number grows, the stress goes down, And that's what we're here for, is to take that stress off of people. Our members, we're here for that. So thank you all for tuning in today. If you're watching and you like what you see on all of our videos, please send it out to your friends. Have everybody subscribe to our YouTube channel on Enbright. Have people follow, or have your friends follow us. We'd love to get more viewers out here, and especially with this program, so everybody knows what it is. Again, Andy, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here today. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.